So now we go to part 4. Shukadeva Goswami then says, hearing these words spoken by Lord Krishna, having thus been shown the entire path of yoga, Uddhava folded his hands to offer obeisances. But his throat choked up with love, and his eyes overflooded with tears, so he could say nothing. So this is an ecstatic symptom of love of God. Just like Lord Chaitanya was so much in love, he was seeing Jagannath on the cart, and Lord Chaitanya's teeth was chattering. He couldn't pronounce Jagannath. Why? Because he was experiencing all the 8 symptoms of ecstatic love of Krishna. Steadying his mind, which had become overwhelmed with love, Uddhava felt extremely grateful to Lord Krishna, who is the greatest hero of the Yadu dynasty. My dear King Parikshit, Uddhava bowed down to touch the Lord's lotus feet with his head, and then spoke with folded hands. So let's all bow down to Krishna like Uddhava. Okay? So this is what Uddhava says. O unborn primeval Lord, so unborn, Aja, everybody say. Aja. Although I had fallen into the great darkness of illusion, my ignorance has now been dispelled by your merciful association. Same thing Arjuna says, chapter 18. Indeed, how can cold, darkness, and fear exert their power over one who has approached the brilliant sun? In return for my insignificant surrender, you have mercifully bestowed upon me, your servant, the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, what devotee of yours who has any gratitude could ever give up your lotus feet and take shelter of another master? In a similar way, I have the same feeling of that for my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. In 1973, I gave my heart, my mind, and soul to Srila Prabhupada. I cannot take that back from and give it to somebody else. I surrendered this life on July 15th, 1973. I decided to give this, the remainder of my life, to Guru and Krishna. And would I do that again 100,000 times? Yes, I will do that. The firmly binding rope of my affection for the families of the Darshahas, Vrishnis, Andakas, and Sattvatas, a rope you originally cast over me by your illusory energy for the purpose of developing your creation, is now cut off by the weapon of transcendental knowledge of the self. Krishna also says in 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, armed with yoga, stand and fight. And he says also, when you have the sword of knowledge. Over the years of my preaching, I always impress upon people that you have to get transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, when serious things happen in your life, you will become bewildered. When there's a death in the family, transcendental knowledge is what's going to carry you through. So don't waste time. Get a good bank account of transcendental knowledge so that when the heavy things come, you'll be able to handle them. Otherwise, no transcendental knowledge, you will be completely overwhelmed, bewildered, lost, and confused, and don't know what to do. But transcendental knowledge, no problemo. You'll be able to figure things out. Where should I get transcendental knowledge, Kamlesh? Or Uddhava Gita, Buddha Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Get your transcendental knowledge. Obeisances unto you, O greatest of yogis. Please instruct me, who am surrendered unto you. How may I have undeviating attachment to your lotus feet? Chant the Maha Mantra, please.